to kick off another week in the NFL. Yes, you're in the right place. Week 4 is here. We've got you covered. This is FanDuel TV's More Ways to Win. We're breaking down and betting the biggest games, handing out best bets, dropping DFS best value plays. Welcome in. I'm Lisa Kerney with my guys here in our Los Angeles studio. You know our sports betting expert, Dave Weaver here. You also know this guy to my right. Nicely sharp dressed, by the way. James Jones here. You know, played in the league 9 years, Super Bowl champ. Every week I'm going to be like, when is the ring coming out?
I know, I'm going to bust it out.
When's the ring coming out?
Once the Packers start playing at the level I want them to play, then
okay. Got to earn it. Got to earn it on this show. Well, let's round out our starting five. And as always, the Sports Talk Radio host Andrew Filipponi is in Pittsburgh. And the face of Marquee Sports Network in Chicago, our NFL analyst, Cole Wright. Guys, it is week 4. So much to get to. More Ways to Win starts now. Now, before we get to our experts here, got to make sure you're prepped to place your bets. Now is the time to download the FanDuel Sportsbook app so you can make all your bets right from your phone while you sit there comfortably watching us. And as a special thank you, FanDuel is giving new customers up to $1,000 back if you don't win your first bet. Yes, you, right now, new users can take advantage of the no-sweat first bet. Just place a cash bet with FanDuel Sportsbook. If you don't win, you're going to automatically get your stake back in free bets. It's that easy. And now you are ready to play. So we're all in this game together, guys. Let's kick it off. We've got an AFC showdown in Baltimore. The Ravens hosting the Bills. Both teams 2-1. The quarterbacks are the story here, right? Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, the two favorites to win MVP right now in the FanDuel Sportsbook. These guys have outstanding individual numbers. They both lead offenses ranked in the top 4 in total yards and total points. An offensive explosion is about to happen here. Let's bet this game and do it in a new segment called Judge James. I always felt like I practiced that, like Judge James, right? Yeah. All right, Dave and Cole, you each pick a side and argue your case. You make sure you bring the goods, because Judge James will be listening to each of your arguments and then issuing a James judgment. Ooh. So, James, get ready to rule on these guys. Dave, you'll be presenting your case first. Okay. Ravens getting 3 at home. Which side are you taking?
So I'm not convinced that this is going to be such a high-scoring game that you think it is, because there could be some weather. This could be one of those rainy days in Baltimore where the running game means everything. And Baltimore, outside of Lamar, doesn't have a running game. I think Buffalo wins this game on the ground. And defensively, they've played 3 games, and they've given up 4 rushing yards to the opposing quarterbacks. Yes, those aren't Lamar Jackson, but, Your Honor, when they played Lamar, 11 carries, 40 yards, 3.6 yards a carry. That's nothing. Josh Allen, they lost last week. Okay, they lost to the Dolphins, but he doesn't lose 2 in a row. They're bouncing back 10-5-1 against the spread. It's Josh Allen following a loss. They're not playing Mac Jones this week, Cole. They're playing Josh Allen. The Ravens are going down.
I'll tell you what, Dave, you're a whole lot better than this, because this matchup right here is going to be tighter than the sleeves on James' coat. Now, we know the Ravens, they own the series lead in this one, 6 games to 4, and they do have that top 5 offensive unit. And as high-powered as the Bills are, more power from Baltimore. They're currently averaging 33 points per game. And, oh, by the way, they're filthy at the house. Now, I don't like to take a look back at last season, but 3 of their 4 losses coming at M&T Bank, no Lamar Jackson, and those 3 losses by a combined 5 points. Now, when you talk about Lamar Jackson, if passing seems to be his weakness, that's cool, because dude has more passing yards than Russ, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, plus only Jonathan Taylor, Cordero Patterson, Saquon Barkley, and Nick Chubb have more rushing yards. So this one, I think it goes in favor of Baltimore, 27-24, guys.
All right. Both sides have rested, James. The verdict now needs to come in. What is your judgment, James?
That's good right there. My dog Dave has some really, really, really good points. And, you know, Buffalo's my Super Bowl pick. I think they are going to the Super Bowl. They're a really good football team. But
don't tell me there's a but in there.
But I am not the only one that's been watching Lamar Action Jackson. I mean, Cole just said it. I mean, rush yards, he's up there. Pass yards, he's up there. The verdict is in. I am going with Cole. I am going with the Ravens in this one. Lamar Action Jackson, just too much. And if it is nasty, what he can do with his legs is going to be a big problem. And he just letting the Ravens know every week, price going up. price going up.
Everybody that faced Lamar Jackson last week in fantasy noted almost 40 points he put up in fantasy. I was playing against him. I still won. It's all good. Thanks for checking in on my fantasy team, everybody. All right, let's move on here. There you have it. Cole wins the first case with his argument for the Ravens. Got to get to this next game. Kansas City, Tampa Bay. Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, another elite quarterback matchup. Both teams 2-1 coming off a loss. The Chiefs lost 2017 in Indy. KC scoring just 3 points in that second half. Mahomes was their leading rusher with 26 yards. A certainly rough game there for the Chiefs. As for the BUCS, their offense also struggled last week, scoring just 12 points in a loss to Green Bay. But wide receiver Mike Evans will be back this week after serving that one-game suspension for fighting. Still a bit up in the air about the location of where this game will be played. It could be Minnesota. It could be New Orleans. It could be Tampa. We're seeing how Hurricane Ian plays out. Guys, let's get Cole and Pony in here to debate this game. Remember, you guys are making your case to Judge James Pony. The NFL could move this game. I just mentioned that, but the Chiefs are currently 1.5-point road favorites. Do you like that number? State your case.
Well, that has not been a winning formula against Tom Brady. Now, he might not be technically he will be a home underdog in this game, even though the game might get moved. Brady with the BUCS is 3-0 in those spots against the spread when he is not the favorite in the game, James. And plus, the ingredients are there for an upset. Let's look at it. The wide receivers, not just Evans, but we could have the full complement with Chris Godwin and Julio Jones both returning to practice. And much like the Super Bowl a couple of years ago between these two teams, the defense of the Buccaneers is for real. Number one in scoring defense, holding teams under 10 points a game. I can see Mahomes having to run a lot. And just last week, they only scored 17 points against the Indianapolis Colts defense. I like Tampa Bay.
All right, Pony, you bring up good points as you usually do, and we're usually in lockstep, but this time around, and not so much. Now, Tom Brady, he does hold the head-to-head series lead when it comes to him versus Patrick Mahomes, 3-2. But Kansas City, they're in need of that reset this week because we saw what happened with them running the ball. 58 total yards. That's not going to happen again. We won't see that. Patrick Mahomes leading the charge, as Lisa pointed out, with 26 yards on the ground. Also won't see that again. This week, the BUCS, they are a little bit banged up, but they look to have some reinforcements back. However, I think Kansas City, they make a return to week one. There were 5 different backs with touches, 10 different Chiefs that got targets, and 9 that reeled in a reception. The Chiefs, they had that September hiccup. They don't have too many of those, so I think those hiccups are gone. 31-27, Kansas City gets it done.
James is getting all comfortable in this role, by the way. He's sitting going, Yeah, bring it strong. All right, what's the ruling?
The verdict is in, and this is in early. Pony, thank you. Thank you, Pony. I did not want to agree with Cole twice on this show. Pony, I am with you, all right? I like TB12 Tom Brady in this game. He's going to get some of his weapons back, but you touched on it. This defense is big time. They made it hard on Aaron Rodgers. They definitely made it hard on Jameis Winston. This defense is big time. I'm taking Tampa in this one. Listen, the Kansas City Chiefs, I mean, we tried to warn Lisa last week. He finally threw that interception, but he was due for like 4 or 5 of them the previous weeks before that. Chargers made it hard on him, right? The only team that he really looked dominant against was probably the worst team in football, the Arizona Cardinals. I like TB12 in this defense going to get the Kansas City Chiefs in this one. I am with Pony.
I didn't know we were going to go at it this early in the show, JJ, but this was me 3 minutes to go in the game, about to light up your phone so fast. Oh, that was week 3. All right, the judge has spoken. Pony wins this case. BUCS getting the points at home. Moving on, because we got another really good one here. Intriguing matchup. The 3-0 Eagles travel to Jacksonville to take on the 2-1 JAGS. Both of these young quarterbacks coming into their own right. It's fun to see these guys develop. We knew Jalen Hurts could do some damage with his running ability, but this year he is doing it with his arm as well, leading the NFL with both 13.9 yards per completion and 9.3 yards per attempt. Then you've got Trevor Lawrence, who's got 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in the Jags' last 2 games. Jacksonville won both of those games, outscoring their opponents by a score of 62-10. I looked it up again just to make sure we had our facts correct. That is craziness. Great job on both sides of the ball by the Jags. All right, Dave and Pony, you're in Judge James's courtroom. Philly, a 6.5-point home favorite. Dave, make your case.
I love that line because when they win by 7 or more, I win. The Eagles are winning this game, and I think they're going to win it big. Look, Jalen Hurts is something else right now, and he can run. Jacksonville, okay, they've been shutting down some of those opposing runners that are absolute mannequins. Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
You know what Jalen Hurts is going to do on the ground and in the air? You got the trio of A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert. These three guys combined 726 yards. There's nobody in the league, three receivers, that can do that. Of course, Miami has Waddle and Tyreek and then nobody else. But to have those three weapons and what he can do on the ground, Jacksonville's they're in trouble here.
Well, I think Judge James, we should get him paid like Judge Judy. I think he's going to like this point. This is a payback game for Doug Peterson. This guy was dubiously fired by the Eagles. I think he's very upset with how that went down. So he's going to treat this game like his Super Bowl. And he's got the horses to make this a game. They snapped the 18-game road losing streak. Dave's talking about how they can't shut down the run game. Austin Eckler was a non-factor against Jacksonville last week, one of the best running backs in the NFL. James Robinson, 2 touchdowns. They have the defensive players, Walker, Josh Allen, the other Allen, to get pressure on Hurts in this game. And James, Philadelphia's taken the foot off the gas. They had Detroit dead to rights. They only won that game by 3 points. This line is big enough for a backdoor cover for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they might win the game outright.
You know what to do?
I mean, I hear it. The verdict is in. I hear you, Pony. But I hear my dude Dave over here as well. And all I heard was him talking about fly, Eagles fly, and Jalen Hurts. He is a phenom. He should really be the MVP through these first 3 weeks. He is playing lights out. He's a leader for that ball club. Too many weapons on the outside. They know Doug Peterson won't pay back in this one, and they are not going to let him get this. I'm with Fly, Eagles fly. The Eagles look like the best team, not just in the NFC, but they look like the best team in the NFL when you talk about just complete, well-rounded, playing defense, can't be stopped on the offensive side of the ball. I am with the Eagles on this one. I'm riding with my dog Dave, and we in studio. You at home. You know what I mean? So here we go.
So we all win one.
I love that graphic, but it looks like you're very comfortable with that gavel and everything, right?
I look real professional.
Yeah,
in
right.
there,
I see your future here. All right, Dave. So congrats. James likes the Eagles. You get the win. And Judge James, the courtroom here on More Ways to Win. And now I have to say, it does feel like we're handing out participation trophies, JJ. I'm just going to say, it feels like a feel-good pillow fight up in here. We have plenty more coming up on FanDuel TV's More Ways to Win. We've got some Week 4 underdog picks with special guest Chad Millman from the Action Network. He will be here. He's got notes, nuggets, analytics, the works. He's revealing it all ahead for you. Plus, we're stacking your DFS lineup with the best value plays of the week. Stick around. We're coming right back. Hey everybody, you all know how much I love talking underdogs, and today we welcome a very special guest to the show to drop some knowledge for us. Coming in hot, the Chief Content Officer of the Action Network and host of sports betting podcast, The Favorites. Give it up for Chad Millman. Chad, thanks for joining us. I know underdogs are your wheelhouse, and you are bullish on 3 dogs that you like to cover here in Week 4. Who's first on your hot list?
All right, Lisa. Well, thanks for having me. I would say the first one is the Jags, 6.5-point underdogs against the Eagles. I heard Dave talking about them in this segment before. I thought it was very square, Dave. It takes bookmakers about 4 weeks to readjust their power ratings. And right now there is an overvalue on the Eagles. The Jags still being very undervalued. You saw this game open at 7. It immediately moved down to 6.5. The Jags are a team that looks like they are having a good time. They have as many weapons as the Eagles do offensively and defensively. And there's one stat you got to think about here. The Eagles have been a team that is averaging more than 6 yards per play through the first 3 weeks of the year. In Week 4, since 2019, teams that average more than 6 yards per play are 19-36 against the spread. That is a huge sample size. It just goes to show you that the bookmakers are overvaluing. They know the public is going to come in on the Eagles. You're still getting a lot of value on the Jags at plus 6.5.
Did you just call me a square, Chad?
I did, Dave. I thought I saw that segment. I'm like, he really can't be taking the Eagles at that big of a number.
I think it's okay. And here's the one thing that I do like about the Eagles as well. They score more points than anybody in the first half, 24 points. That's almost a touchdown more than the Ravens, who are at 17.3. So when they jump out to 24 points at halftime, I don't think the Jags are going to make it up. So I'm going to say you're wrong on this one.
All right, fading Chad there with the first go out of the gate. Chad, let's hear your second underdog pick.
All right, so the second game, you guys talked about the Bills and the Ravens in the previous segment. I love the Ravens here. I feel like this is a classic Pro Joe game right now in which you've got the majority of the bets coming in on a very public team in the Bills, and the majority of the money, and that usually indicates professional betting money, coming in on the Ravens. This line opened at 3.5. It's been bet down to 3. I mentioned that trend of teams that average 6 yards per play going into week 4. There's 2 teams in the NFL that do that right now. It's the Bills and the Eagles. The Bills are the other team that are against this trend. Look, in these situations, and it happened with Miami last week, the Bills either cover or the Bills just lose. Last week, I bet Miami on the money line. I like the Ravens here. I bet them at plus 3.5. I'd still bet them at plus 3. If you like the Ravens at all, you might as well take a taste of the money line too.
Okay. Pony, your turn. Come in, give your thoughts here. Are you tailing or fading?
No, I'm gonna tail Chad. I've always been a big fan. I've got an autographed copy of your book, The Odds, on the shelf behind me, Chad. So I'm gonna go against you here. Look, this is why I like what you're saying. Against the spread at home, Lamar Jackson is 2-0 as an underdog against New England in 2019, the Chiefs last year. He's good in these spots. And the Bills, you hit on it. They have not won a one-possession game in 2 years. So I think it'll be closer, and in those situations, I favor the Ravens just like you.
Okay, there it is, Chad. Come in, bring this home for us. Give me one more dog you like this week.
All right, so this one you're going to have to hold your nose. It's totally gross. It's disgusting. But I like the Texans at plus 5.5 at home against the Chargers. Whenever I look at lines when they open on a Sunday night, I tend to look for home dogs that the public is going to want to stay away from. The Texans are a home dog the public wants nothing to do with. Professional bettors love the Texans in this spot. This line opened at 7. It's been bet down to 5.5. 5.5 is what we call in the business a dead number, right? If you can take 5.5 as much as you can take 7, it's totally fine. The Chargers, without Rashawn Slater at left tackle, without Joey Bosa at defensive end, Justin Herbert's still struggling. The Texans are a team that plays hard. They've played hard in every single game so far this year. They're 3-0 against the spread. I like a ugly home dog in the Texans plus 5.5.
I think there's a reason people don't like playing the Texans, because they can't score, they can't move the ball. You look at the chess pieces in this game, Herbert's going to be much better this week. He's going to be much more recovered. Eckler, Allen should be back, Mike Williams. Those offensive weapons against Mills, you have Rex Burkhead? Come on, who's going to score your points? Nico Collins? I just think the offensive weapons for the Chargers are going to shine here.
All right, guys, great stuff. Let's recap Chad's best underdog bets for week 4. Millman, you're going with the Jags, getting the points at the Eagles. Ravens getting the points at home against the Bills. And then the Texans getting points at home against the Chargers. We've got an awesome slate of games ahead of us, so let's see what happens this weekend. Chad, awesome. You can get more of Chad's insights by listening to the Favorites podcast, wherever you get your podcast.
I'm sneaking inner single. You come on the show with that bear stuff in the background, I'm unplugging stuff in here.
I will bring my full jersey. I'll bring my bobbleheads. I'll bring my hats. We can talk Bears Packers all day.
All the lights gonna go out. We ain't even gonna know why.
He just started. He was just coming. He was like, all right, now I can't handle it. All right, make sure to download the Action Network app for expert picks, live scores, stats. Chad, you're awesome. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you again on the show.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so that's a look at some of the underdogs you should keep an eye on. But conversely, we've got a board full of favorites as well. Time to dish out some respect on this show. Put some respect on my name. Yes, we're picking our favorites of the week, and we're doing it BETMOJI style, guys. Picking dogs is a good way to get plus money, but you can also increase your odds, get a good payout with a smart parlay of favorites here. So, Cole, I want you to build a 3-game parlay with 3 favorites you are super confident will cover here in week 4. And now here's the fun part. These guys, you're like, okay, come on. After you build your parlay, the rest of the guys are going to grade your pick using their emojis. Cole, give us your favorites of the week.
All right, I like this new segment, favorites, because I must have been too good at picking underdogs from a season ago. We'll get into that as the show unfolds, but in the meantime, we're going to start with the Chargers at Houston. Now, we heard a take on that just a second ago, but you give 5.5 with the Bolts. And Houston, as we know, not really great at playing tackle football. 25th or worse in almost every single category that matters. And you can look for Justin Herbert and Mike Williams, who only had 1 reception versus Jacksonville, to get back on the same page again. Chargers, I think they win easy in this one, 27-17. Now, when it comes to more favored action, I'm going with Detroit at the house versus Seattle. Tough road loss to Minnesota. They're licking their paws right now, but it is good to be back at the house. And 3, keep an eye on this one. It's the magic number for the Lions. They're 3rd in offense, defense, and rushing offense. And Dan Campbell, he wants this team to be disruptive on D, and it shouldn't be really that hard to disrupt Seattle's offense. They're currently bottom 4. So I see the Lions winning in this one, 24-14. And last but not least, Jacksonville at Philly. Chad and Dave, you got to be better than this one, because Jags versus the Chargers, and that was fool's gold. Philly, way too much right now. 24 points or more in all 3 of their W's. In Jacksonville, they did do a good job of bottling up Los Angeles, but Justin Herbert, maybe not as easy to game plan for, or harder to game plan for. We know Jalen Hurts is, because he can do it all. He can run, he can throw, and he and Miles Sanders, they're going to have you gassed from the very start. And Smith, Brown, and Goddard, this looks like an easy Eagles win. You see them right there. Fly, Eagles, fly, 34-21 Philly.
These guys are over here trying to throw you like every emoji that they can possibly get their
all
hands
good ones,
on.
I'm sure. All good.
Yeah. All right. So these guys are ready to give you the BETMOJI treatment. Before we get to their reaction, let's recap your parlay. Take a look at these odds, guys. Remember, this is Cole's favorites. So he's taking the Chargers, Lions, Eagles, all giving the points. So take a look at the odds for this parlay. More than plus 600 on this bet if all the legs hit. Guys, you heard his picks. You tailing or fading? What do you think?
I'm just confused that, so you have to like all 3 of his bets to give him my money? Because I like 2 of the
That's what I'm with. That's why I got 2 of them, and I'm barely showing these things.
I'll give both. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, all of them are money except the Texans. Lovie Smith has the Texans playing, right? They've been battling in every single game, Cole, and you came on here saying they don't know how to play football. Come on, Lovie Smith.
They lost to the Bears. No disrespect to Lovie, but he's out there looking like Papa Smurf with that beard out there.
Lovie Smith has them in every game competing. But the other 2, you on the money. The Eagles are problems.
I don't know what you guys see in the Lions. Every week you come on this show and you make a bet for the Lions. Did you watch what happened at the end of last week's game? Classic Lions, Cole.
That's the one I don't like either.
Yeah, are you done with the Lions? By the way, you picked them as an upset last week.
Yeah, I'm with him on the Lions, man. The Lions were on the road. Yes, they went back to the old Lions, and they got me and Cole on here looking bad, but I'm still a believer in Coach Campbell and those Lions. I think they're going to get it fixed, and if it's any week to get it fixed, it's this week against that terrible Geno Smith Seattle offense. All
right, let's go. In addition to betting favorites and underdogs, you can also get in on the fun with daily fantasy. Of course, you know this by now. There are a bunch of DFS contests live right now where you can win thousands of dollars. FanDuel.com. The key to success, value at each position. So we serve that up hot and fresh here on More Ways to Win. Jim Sonis is the senior writer and analyst for Number Fire. He's got his best value plays for week 4. What up, Jim?
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, not to spoil our stud segment later on, but I think this is a good week to spend up at running back because not a lot of value there as of right now, which means we got to save elsewhere. And I'm going to start things off at tight end with Zach Ertz once again. Ertz just has too good of a role for what the salary implies at $5,500. Ertz, just keep on using him until that salary goes up. 18% target share for Ertz thus far this year. He has double-digit targets in back-to-back games and also 38% of the team's red zone targets thus far. It's okay to be down the Cardinals for sure, but I think until Ertz's salary goes up, we're going to keep on plugging him in as a value play. In the mid-tier, I want to go to Drake London at $6,300. He's had an amazing role thus far in his rookie season. He has 33% of the Falcons' overall targets with 39% of the work downfield. He's facing Cleveland here. It's a high total, a tight spread. This game is indoors, so Drake London, once again, checking a lot of boxes for DFS. But the top value for me is Gabriel Davis at $6,500. Way too low for a guy who has his ceiling. Also, this is a tremendous game for stacking for this week in DFS. It's a massive total. It's a tight spread. Both these teams super, super fun. And Davis hasn't had the best role thus far, but he's had enough, and we know what he can do on limited work as well. So Gabriel Davis, $6,500, way too low for a guy with his path to a massive, massive game. Hopefully using those guys will give us the salary to spend up at running back. We'll talk about later on here, Lisa.
Thanks, Jim. Set your lineups now, FanDuel.com. And, of course, follow Jim on Twitter at JimSaunas. Check out his Covering the Spread podcast as well, wherever you get your podcasts. It's awesome stuff, and Jim is such a great guy. Killing it, Jim. Thank you. All right, we've stacked your rosters. We picked your biggest games. Coming up, we're pitting our experts against our ex-player. These guys going head-to-head, giving picks for their favorite Week 4 matchups. Who do they have their eyes on? Well, this is a tease, so you're going to have to stay tuned. Plus, the guys are revealing their best spread, money line, and total bets for this week. Best bets coming up next. Welcome back, everybody. This is FanDuel TV. We're betting football. So let's go. It's Week 4, and we're pitting our experts versus our ex-player to see which guy has got the goods. Each of our betting experts are going to debate a game with JJ here. Again, 9-year NFL vet, Super Bowl champ. If you know, you know. Maybe they're going to agree, and maybe it'll get heated up in here. There is only one way to find out. Get this thing going. We're starting our expert versus ex-player battle with 2-1 Green Bay hosting 1-2 New England. Now, the Packers have won 14 straight regular season home games straight up, while Brian Hoyer will start under center for the Patriots after Mac Jones injured his ankle. Hoyer has lost 11 straight starts. Dave, Packers giving 9.5 here. How much do we put on that Hoyer thing?
Don't you even think about doing it,
So,
Dave.
That's a big line.
You understand how betting works, right?
Yes, I do.
You're going to give Bill Belichick
Yes.
a 9.5-point head start. That is not a smart thing to do because he's a great coach. I looked it up, even going back, this is when he coached for the Browns, talking 1991 all the way up until now. He's been underdog of 8 points or more 19 times. He's covered 15 of those games, so he doesn't like being in the spot, being disrespected as a 10-point underdog. They will hold their own. Do you know who the leading receiver for the Packers is right now? He has 137 yards. You don't even know who it is. Their leading receiver in Week 4 has 137 yards. They got no passing game. Aaron could throw to Lisa right now.
Did you just see that guy that's going to be under center for the Patriots? Brian Hoyer.
That's a problem.
Did they just say he was 0-10 in his last 10?
I think.
0-11.
0-11 in his last 11 starts.
Packers
Listen,
never
man.
score. They might
Come
not even
on.
score 10
Packers
points.
are about to score a lot of points in this ballgame. They're going to be on the field too much. The Patriots not going to be able to move the football. Our defense is good. The Packers have a really good defense that's going to make it extremely hard on Brian Hoyer. You're going to have Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith coming after these boys, Kenny Clark in the middle coming after. Bill Belichick is just outnumbered on these, right? I don't know how many times Bill Belichick has been outnumbered, right? Bill Belichick does not have a good football team. A lot of people don't want to say it because it's Bill Belichick, the greatest coach to ever do it. You think he's going to find some way. He does not have a good football team. The Packers are going to expose that this weekend. Too much Aaron Rodgers, too much Packers defense. Packers win this one big. I'm saying 35-10 Packers.
Take your 13-6 win and move on. 13-6
I mean, at some point,
Packers.
you do have to play with who you've got. You know, the coach can't get out there and play. I mean, not like we want to see that,
100% correct.
but you know what I mean? You got to play with what you got. All right, Cole, you're our expert for the next game. We got Bears and Giants. Both teams are 2-1, but they've both also given up more points than they've scored. Hard to believe, but fact. Cole, you are in Chicago. Bears are getting 3.5. What's your take on this game?
Well, I'm still a little upset. We roll with the Packers right off the very top for our guy, James. We're just pretty much gift wrapping it for him. But you take a look at the Chicago Bears, like you said, a little lopsided when it comes to points allowed versus points scored. And Khalil Herbert, we saw what he was able to do last week. 20 carries, 157 yards with 2 touchdowns. And the key to beating Big Blue is run the football. If their defensive unit can keep you under 150 yards, they win. If you go above 150 on the ground, well, the Giants, they haven't sipped from the cup of victory. And Dallas on a national stage, 176 yards. And, well, since we said what Khalil Herbert was able to do, I don't think he's going to be able to have monster games in back-to-back weeks. I think Wink Martindale, his defense, they answer Giants. They win 23-20, but the Bears, they're going to cover for you.
You know what, Cole? You in Chicago. You going against the Bears. I play for the Packers, so you already know I don't like the Bears. But I am not a believer in this Giants team. I'm just not. I'm one of those guys that's sitting here saying, I'm not a believer in Daddy Dimes. I'm not a believer in this offense. I'm not a believer in Wink Martindale's defense. I think the Bears go and win this game. They play really good defense, and like you said, they can run the football. If they can run the football, I know you're not having your quarterback in Chicago, Justin Fields, throw the ball all over the yard, and I pray that you open the playbook up a little bit. It's year 2 for him. Let him throw the ball over the yard a little bit. But they can run the football, and they know who they are, and they are going to run the football. I think the Bears shut down Saquon Barkley. I think they score some points. I like the Bears winning this game 17-10. I don't see a lot of points in here, but I think Justin Fields make a couple splash plays, and the Bears win this thing 17-10.
And, of course, now the Giants also without Sterling Shepard, who tore his ACL there in Week 3. All right, Pony now tapping in for Cole for our next game here. NFC West Showdown on Monday Night Football. We got the 2-1 Rams at the 1-2 49ers. The Rams have won 2 in a row after that opening week loss to Buffalo. Starting to figure this out, right? But the Niners, this team is interesting to watch, right? They're coming off that tough Monday night loss in Denver. Some shenanigans went down there. San Francisco giving 1.5 points to the Rams. Pony, you're starting us off. Who do you like?
Yeah, the Niners are favored against the team they lost to in last year's NFC Championship game because for LA, it just hasn't clicked yet. They went up on Arizona, a team they always beat, had beaten the Cardinals in 10 of 11, up 13-0. They only win the game by 1 possession. It's an 8-point win. Atlanta, a couple of weeks ago at home, turned into a game. They barely won. They needed a stop late, a Jalen Ramsey interception, and we know they got blown out in Week 1. So what I'm saying is the Rams, talk about Super Bowl hangover for teams that lose the big game. The team that won has not looked the same, and they go on the road in a gotta-have-it game for the Niners with such a low number, Lisa. I think San Francisco is going to win this game, and I think it's going to be by more than a touchdown.
Man, Pony, man, I don't know what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? Me and you drinking the same coffee, man. We on the same page today.
And you need it. You had a jet lag situation, James. You need that little coffee action.
You know what I mean? But I am with you, man. It's just something about the Niners owning the Rams. I know they won the last meeting, you know, to get themselves to the Super Bowl, but the Niners just have the Rams number. They're more physical than them when they take the football field. Kyle Shanahan, his game plan when they take the football field, they move the ball. Jimmy G plays well against them. I mean, not super great numbers, but he always finds a way to beat them. I just like the Niners in this. It's about just going out there and just saying that this team cannot mess with us, right? I don't care which players take the field. The Niners always find a way to beat the Rams. And the Rams are not playing at a high level. You talked about the first 3 weeks. They're just not looking like that team they were looking like last week. Allen Robinson is yet to show up to make that offense explosive. I'm still waiting for OBJ to walk in that building to be able to help that offense. They're just not looking good. I like the Niners in this one as well.
It always feels good to be at home, get that home cooking, sleep in their own beds. All right, great stuff, guys. We're going to soon find out who knows more, our experts or our ex-player. Hit up the FanDuel Sportsbook app now to pick your sides and place your bets. All right, now let's get to our best bets, and our experts are giving them out in the form of a spread, money line, and total bet. Now, in part of our weekly competition here, where each of our guys gets 100 virtual dollars to place those 3 bets. And great news this week, both of our guys made money on their bets.
Okay.
But Dave,
Nice.
Drinks on you, man. You made more. Check this out. Dave had the Rams covering the spread. Colts on the money line, Baltimore, New England over.
Oh.
They all hit. He made almost $120 on his $100
A dinner
bet.
on Dave.
Just another clean sweep, Pony.
Cheers, Dave. I'll have Prosecco. Thank you. All right, Pony finished in the black as well. Great week for both of you guys, but pressure's on, Dave. You're the winner. You're going to go first. Place these $100.
Right.
Give us a spread, money line, and total.
Stick to what's been working. I'm putting $60 on my best bet in this week. That is the Philadelphia Eagles. One of the points I didn't bring up earlier is that this is the 3rd road game already for the Jaguars. They had to come out and drive in these electric cars out here in California and then go all the way back to the East Coast. They're tired. Look, this is the team that's going to get blown out by the Eagles. $60 on Philadelphia. As far as the money line bet, are you out of your mind? The Raiders are a favorite in the NFL. They're 0-3. The 3 teams that they lost to haven't beat another team. They're 0-6 combined. Broncos go into Vegas and roll them, $20 on them, and the total under. James called it. This is going to be a low-scoring game between the Bears and the Giants. If you're relying on Richie James and David Sills V to get points on the board, good luck. Under $20.
Yeah, you didn't look like a square with those virtual bets there, Dave. I don't know what Chad was talking about.
Baby. You can call me whatever you want.
Yeah, ice cold no more. You're hitting those exactas and trifectas. Look, I'm going to start with the Colts. $50 on them to cover the spread against Tennessee. If they can beat Kansas City at home by 3 points, I think they can beat the Titans by more than 3 on Sunday. Next up, money line. Dave, we're in the same club. I'm thinking the same way as you with Denver on the money line, $25 on them. I'll do a little bit more with the Raiders. They never led at Tennessee last week, and we watched them give that game away against Arizona in Vegas earlier in the year. And then my final $25 wager, a total bet on the under in Buffalo, Baltimore. I think everybody just assumes with the 2 quarterbacks, it's going to be a shootout. We didn't see that with the Bills last week. The yards and points didn't sync up. I think the game is lower scoring than the experts think. Give me the under.
All right, some interesting strategies there. But of course, as always, we're going to have to see which one is best after this weekend. We will air the results on next week's show. You know how much I love accountability time. All right, coming up here, another week, another money line moneymaker hit. JJ was on the Colts last week. Yep. Took them at plus 220 against my Chiefs. We all know what happened. All right, moving on. We're going to talk about that. We're going to dig in. So which underdogs is he picking to win outright this week? His picks, his analysis ahead. Plus, our DFS expert reveals which fantasy studs you have to have in your lineup this week. More ways to win. Stay put. We're coming back. Hey, everybody, welcome back to More Ways to Win here on FanDuel TV. We're shouting out some of our betting markets with rapid-fire predictions. Giddy up, no time to waste, guys. You know the drill. I give you the line. You give me your pick in 15 seconds or less. Dave, we're starting with the Titans at the Colts in an AFC South divisional game. Colts are giving 3.
I think the Colts are going to roll the Titans here. Titans are struggling. They haven't scored a second-half point since week 1. Once the Colts jump out to a big lead, it's over.
Pony, Washington at Dallas, NFC East divisional game. Washington Commanders getting 3 here.
Cooper Rush in his career is winless as a favorite because he's never been one. This is an overreaction to what's happened in his first 2 starts. Take Washington.
All right, Cole, Denver is at the Raiders in an AFC West divisional game here. Broncos getting 2.5 coming off that win.
Well, after seeing Russ in his kitchen playing the role of voice actor, asking everyone, do you like these outfits? I can never go with that guy ever again in the history of life. Plus the Raiders, they're dragging me through these streets. They have my name looking like mud. So I'm going silver and black 28-19, Lisa.
I feel like you left a door open there in the history of your life. All right, Pony, yep. Jets at Pittsburgh. QB Zach Wilson is expected to make his first start of the season for these JETSs. Pony, you're in Pittsburgh. Steelers giving 3.
They shouldn't be. 31st in scoring offense, still Trubisky at quarterback. And since he came into the league, the Steelers still haven't won a game without TJ Watt.
Dave, Seattle and Detroit Lions giving 4.5.
Yeah, in a year with so much parity, we've had 22 games of 4 points or less already through 3 weeks. Seattle's been involved in 2 of those, and no DeAndre Swift. I think the Lions do not get the job done here. Seattle keeps it close.
Okay. I think you would get a little pushback from the guy to my left. From quick picks to upset alerts, we're back on the money line and dropping those money line moneymakers for you right now. And we're giving them the BETMOJI treatment. Guys, last week, JJ handed out the Colts beating the Chiefs outright at plus 220. Nailed it, ripped my heart out at the same time. So, James, you're on the hot seat again this week. I'm going to ask you to give me an underdog you think is going to win outright this weekend. The guys are going to crush you or love you based on those emojis. So give me your first pick.
Well, you know, I've been on the money, so they should be loving me because I've been on the money. But listen, I know My dog Cole called him the Smurf and all that. But Lovie Smith and the Texans, right? They play hard. I think they are due. Finally, they are due for a win. The Chargers, no Bosa. They're not going to be able to really get after the quarterback unless Khalil Mack just has one of those days. I don't know. And then the offense is rusty. They can't find a way to get Austin Eckler going. And this Texans defense battles all game long. I like the Texans getting their first win of the season for Lovie Smith. They are going to beat the Chargers. Y'all better listen to me before y'all put these faces up because I hit on the money last week with Patrick Mahomes and them Colts.
Okay, bring it strong.
You've been hitting every week. I'm confused how you think they're going to get their points.
No, you're getting killed here, James.
I like Davis Mills. I know. I see y'all. All right. But please take a picture of that so when I come back off this Texas win, y'all hold him up again. So when the Texans come off this win.
He got everything but money.
You know, I'm going to be holding up mine at y'all when the Texans find a way to win this game.
Yeah, and actually you have one shot. We're not giving you two shots. That is it. That is the upset pick from JJ this week. Awesome stuff. If you all agree with JJ, hop on the FanDuel Sportsbook app now. Get that plus money before kickoffs roll up on Sunday. Coming up, Week 4 Fantasy Studs. Our DFS expert reveals which high-priced players you have to have in your lineup. Plus, we're picking the rest of the Week 4 games on the schedule. We are coming right back. Just a quick break. Time now to put our stamp of approval on this show. Certified. We say we break down every game, and we mean it. So let's hit more of the Week 4 games and get our expert picks right now. Minnesota taking on New Orleans. This game in London. The Vikings scored a touchdown with less than a minute left to pull out the win at Detroit. The Saints have lost 2 in a row, averaging just 12 points in those games. Pony, Vikings are 2.5-point favorites here. How are you playing it?
I think we're going to get a quarterback upgrade in New Orleans. It looks like Andy Dalton could start, which makes sense because Winston's turning the ball over again and his back is screwed up. So with that in mind, I like the Saints to cover against Minnesota.
Well, Lisa, I'll tell you what, Minnesota, they showed me something last week that when Kirk Cousins plays a clean game, we saw them, the Vikings, they can win a pair of touchdowns, 0 picks, sacked only 1 time, and 9 Vikings had targets and 9 Vikings with receptions. Minnesota, they win across the pond 27-21.
All right, getting 2.5. Thank you, guys. Arizona now is at Carolina. Both teams 1 and 2. Arizona getting 1.5 points on the road here. Pony, do you like that number?
I like Carolina. Arizona need a miracle to beat the Raiders, a Hunter Renfrow fumble away from being 0-3. Give me Baker Mayfield's team.
No, give me anybody but Baker Mayfield. He's 0-7 against the spread his last 7 games as a favorite, 11-22-1 overall as a favorite. When Baker Mayfield's supposed to win, that's when you bet against him. Give me Arizona.
All right, let's wrap this up with the 2-1 Browns at the 1-2 Falcons. Browns coming off Thursday Night Football win against the Steelers. Falcons beat the Seahawks in Seattle last week. Browns are 1.5-point road favorite here. Cole, you're up.
Yeah, you're going to get the points with Atlanta, but I'll tell you what, Lisa, you're not going to need them. 26 or more in every single game. Scoring points hasn't been the problem. The defense has been. Outcomes aside, Atlanta, ranked defense, chomped on Nick Chubb, 31-28. Falcons, they get the W.
Cole, my dog Cole. Man, I'm with you. I think this Falcons team, number one, can easily be 2-0, but they can easily be 3-0 as well. They've been in every football game that they have played this season. They are playing some solid football. I love what I'm seeing from the quarterback in Mariota. I like the Falcons in this one as well, beating these Cleveland Browns and Jacoby Brissett. I like the Falcons, what they got going on right now. Cole, I'm with you one more time, and I don't like it.
No, I don't like it. This show is off the rails.
Oh, man.
If you all like it, too, you can hit up the FanDuel Sportsbook app right now and make these picks. We're coming up. We've got our DFS studs. We're going to be right back. We're back dropping fantasy dimes because FanDuel offers a bunch of DFS contests where you can win thousands of dollars by starting the right players. So right now we're bringing you ringers well worth their high price tag. Jim Sonis is back with the goods. Who's on your can't miss list here in Week 4, Jim?
Thanks, Lee. So we talked about saving the salary earlier on, and I think that we can put those dollars to good use here. At tight end, I want to get to Mark Andrews once again if I can, because Andrews' production and usage is just insane across the board. He has 37% of the Ravens' targets this year, with 45% of the deep work and 43% of the red zone. Just massive numbers across the board. So the odds that Andrews burns you if you don't use him are, as always, pretty high. My number 2 stud is Christian McCaffrey, $8,800. McCaffrey's role is definitely worse than it was, but it's still pretty good, especially in a good matchup here against Arizona. McCaffrey through 3 games is averaging 16.7 carries and 4.3 targets per game thus far, while getting 37% of the team's red zone opportunities. Facing the Cardinals here, a team we can run on, so McCaffrey in a good spot to buy back on him for this week. My top stud is lower salary than Christian McCaffrey in the exact same position, but Saquon Barkley, to me, is the bigger priority between these two guys. Barkley has had an amazing role thus far, averaging 136 yards from scrimmage per game. Facing the Bears here, it's a team they should be able to run on, so Saquon Barkley, I would say, is the top priority at any position and any salary on this entire slate. So Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, 2 good spots to spend up at running back for this week, Lisa, if you've saved money elsewhere.
My man. Set your lineups at FanDuel.com. Follow Jim on Twitter at JimSaunas. And another reminder to check out his Covering the Spread podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks a lot, Jim. Time now to talk some futures, and we're focusing on the conference winners here. There are a few weeks in the books here, and the Eagles, Packers, BUCS have the 3 shortest odds to win the NFC. Dave, let's get your pick here. Do you like a favorite, or are you going for a value pick here instead?
Somewhere in between. I think the Rams are being a little bit undervalued now at plus 600. Look, that division started out being pretty tough, right? But now Arizona's not doing very well. The Niners look like they're going to stink. I think the Rams could cakewalk here and be pretty fresh going into the postseason. I'll take the Rams.
Dave been standing by me this whole show. And he ain't said the Packers in no segment yet. You know what I mean? But one of these days it's going to happen. Listen, I'm not going against AR-12 and Aaron Rodgers. He is a bad man. I am still taking the Packers to be the NFC favorites and come out of there. I like Green Bay, AR-12 getting the job done.
All right, let's flip it over to the AFC. Bills and Chiefs have set themselves apart from the competition on the field and on the board, as you see here. Pony, which way are you going here in the AFC?
But they won't be if they beat the Bills on Sunday, which they will do. So I would jump on that now and get value before the number change after Sunday's game.
Oh, Cole, come on, Cole. Cole's going Ravens?
I know what he's saying. He going Raiders. He got to stay. He got to stay with the Raiders.
we can read your lips, Cole.
Yeah, he's like, just put the graphic up. All right, great stuff, 41 on the Raiders there. In addition to cashing in on the FanDuel Sportsbook app, you can also have fun and make some of them easy money playing a new free game, the FanDuel Casino app. Hit it up. The rewards machine is live now. Enjoy week 4, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us.